Hello, dear listeners, and welcome back to another episode of LadyHeard. I'm Silvia, and today I will be your host. Here with me are Cegolene and Schaida.
Hi.
Hi, ladies. So, welcome back. So, the theme of today is representation, and I want to start this episode with a quote from a novel called Yellow Face by Rebecca F. Kwang. Daniela emails me out of the blue. Hey, June. Hope you've been well. Wanted to bring something to get to your opinion. Candice suggested that we get a Chinese or Chinese diaspora sensitivity reader, and I know it's late in the process, but do you want us to look into things for you? Sensitivity readers are readers who provide cultural consulting and critiques on manuscripts for a fee. Say, for example, a white author writes a book that involves a black character. The publisher might hire a black sensitivity reader to check whether the textual representations are consciously or unconsciously racist. They've gotten more and more popular in the past few years, as more and more white authors have been criticized for employing racist tropes and stereotypes. It's a nice way to avoid getting dragged on Twitter, though sometimes it backfires. I've heard horror stories of at least 2 writers who were forced to withdraw their books from publication because of a single subjective opinion. I don't see why, I read back. I'm pretty comfortable with the research I did. A response instantly pings my inbox. June is not Chinese diaspora, and we run the risk of doing real harm if we don't check any of the Chinese phrases. Naming conventions, textual recounting of racism with a reader better suited to catch mistakes. This is just a minor example of how important representation is for communities that are not so frequently the main characters in a story. So, ladies, if you were to write a book that would represent you, what would it be about, and how would you imagine your characters?
I think it would be something about chasing your dreams and the whole journey, that you need to go through to make them come true. And thinking about characters, I would definitely represent, if it was supposed to represent myself, I would say someone like courageous, resilient, and positive. Yeah.
Right. Would you add also any particular characteristics, like, I don't know, skin color or anything to make it like sound more diverse, or would it be, how would you imagine your characters in this sense?
Interesting. Oh, it depends, because if you said to represent me, then I would definitely try to bring some of my traits to the character, also physically speaking. But it's also a nice idea to perhaps have like a diverse, because I am a mix, right? I think I would try to represent myself, but I would be open to the idea of perhaps bringing different traits to come up with what could be me also.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
What about you, Sego?
I think it will be like a story about finding myself, because when I was younger I was quite, a follower, and so a lot of the tastes I had when I was younger were tastes that my friend had around me, and I don't think I really choose them.
And for other characters that you would add in your story, like how do you imagine them?
My story, is about finding myself and not trying to resemble other people, so I'm not sure there will be many other people, because if I try to fit myself in cases, to fit in a group, so I think it probably just be me. Yeah, I'm a narcissistic, apparently. Just me.
When it comes to me, if I were to write a book that will represent me, I would think of similar to books that Alice Oseman wrote. I don't know if you know her. She's the author of Heartstopper.
Oh yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so she wrote like also books, not
Uh-huh.
just the comics. And when I was reading them, like I was really resonating with, the not so much with the university vibe or something like that. There's one book that is set during university period of time, but more the small town reality, because it is true that my hometown is very known in the world and everything, but in reality it's really small. And growing up, like I felt like the mentality was a bit provincial in a sense, so it was quite limited. Like you would need to fit in a box. Whereas if I were to, so I would use that trope from my perspective, but to depict a completely different scenario, which is maybe to have like a more open-minded reality. Yeah. And as for the characters, well, growing up myself and like living in so many countries, and with different people from different nationalities, I think I would be more trying to take, little characteristics from all the people that I've lived with or that I work with, in order to build up the characters, because they were so diverse. I would probably need a sensitivity reader for some communities, I must say. But yeah, like I think my idea would be to have like the more diversity as possible in the group of characters that I imagine. I don't have a storyline, but yeah, it would be probably like a queer girl in a small hometown and trying to find herself and everything, and yeah, trying to navigate life, but not in high school, like maybe more after the uni period, because I feel like a lot of the novels are based on either young people or like people that are like in their 20s and partying and everything, which is one reality, right? But like not everyone, it's not maybe everyone's reality all the time. So I think, I would make it a bit more like introverted friendly.
Yeah, and also it's that you said, because it shouldn't be just with this university or even high school kind of context, because it's actually when we stop studying and we become adults that we face the reality, right? Because there is no continuation. Like we were until that moment just getting our scores, keeping going from one semester to another. And now it's time to put everything we learn in practice. And that's the moment I think you realize, okay, who am I? What do I want to do? And most importantly, why?
Yeah.
But if I could also give my thoughts on other characters that I would have in my story, well, I said it would be about chasing your dreams or that. I would add definitely, I don't know how many, but it would definitely two. One that would be extremely supportive, and one that would be exactly the opposite. Because at the end of the day, that's life. You always have someone that will trust you and believe in your potential more than you can do that yourself. And you also have those who will try to bring you down no matter what. So I think it's a test, you're gonna be in a way kind of guided by this sort of angel that comes in your life from one hand, and on the other you're gonna be tested. Okay, how much do you want that? Because it's by being able to overcome those challenges, but also people that do not trust you or people that don't want to see you grow or achieve things, that when you manage to overcome all that, that's when you're actually ready to get what you deserve. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense, because I think like there's a lot of duality in human beings. Yeah, like I think we were mentioning it also last time, but yeah, also Sego, what would be your outlook on that in the sense.
So I was thinking, I'm currently, so for people that don't know, I'm currently living in Ireland, and in Ireland there is not many mixed school. And I talked with a colleague of mine not too long ago. He was lucky to get in a mixed school, but when you get to university, you're mixed now. But all this year prior, you were only between girls or only between boys, and so you didn't really interact and learn how to interact with each other, and it created like many problems. And I think it shows how much you need to grow up with everyone around you and to learn when you are younger, because once you are an adult, you will be like pushed in the adult world, and if you didn't get the experience, it's even more harder for you because you don't have your parent to help you. You're all alone. You're an adult.
Oh, thank you for your thoughts.
Thank you.
Now, this second quote is from something that I wrote some time ago last year, and it goes like this. Yana and Sarah decided to watch a movie that evening. They looked up on their smart TV and scrolled among the possible options. What are you in the mood for? Don't know, maybe something light? A rom-com would do. Gotcha. What about this one? Pointed out Yana. Sarah quickly read the plot resume. Yana gently stroked her hair, and Sarah turned her face towards her with a smile. Then a scene caught the attention of the two young ladies. The two protagonists, Amy and Nikki, were about to have sex. No, sorry, I don't feel like it. Amy paused and looked at the other girl, puzzled. Is there something wrong? Do you want to break? No, it's not that. It's just that... Look, I love you, but I can't do it. Why? I am asexual, and it's nothing on you, but I really can't. Do I repulse you? No, you don't. You're pretty and fun, and I really love talking to you, but this part is not for me. Sorry, but I don't understand. You like me and such, but not enough to have sex with me, is it? No, Amy, I do like you. But the idea of sex in general does not attract me, and there's plenty of people out there that feel the same as me. I don't feel sexual attraction towards you, nor towards anyone else. I am asexual. Sarah and Yana were in awe and widely smiling. Never it happened to them that they had gotten such close representation to what their experience was, and they were eager to listen to the rest of the conversation between the two main characters. What are your impressions after hearing this quote? What emotions did it provoke?
I think we take for granted that just because we like someone, we feel attracted to the person, to the personality, and even physically, that sex will, come
along. Yeah.
come along. But I mean, I'm very open-minded. I mean, I say I understand this because it's not my case, but I totally respect. I mean, everyone should understand what is best for everyone, like boundaries, know yourself, what you feel comfortable with, what you don't feel comfortable with, and the people who actually love you, I think, they will understand and love you the way you are. That's it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Schaida.
Yeah.
Sego?
I think it's good, and I think there is many kind of love, and there is not one that is better than the other, and there is many ways to show that you love someone. Sometimes if it's not, I know that there is love language, and sometimes if the other person you're with doesn't use the love language you prefer, it might be complicated.
Being part of the queer community and being quite in line with what dialogue says and everything. I was volunteering last year in Slovenia, so I remember I was having breakfast, I was literally in the kitchen, and then I had this scene in my mind, which was the dialogue part, actually. And I was thinking wow, it's so good, it should be put on writing. So what I was adding 2 more characters, which are Yana and Sarah, the couple here mentioned, and then I built a story around this dialogue that I imagined, and then I created a whole short story that it got published on the association website, and like I was super happy about it.
Yeah, it's my preview, really.
Yeah. And I remember like also like showing it to one of my housemates there, and yeah, he was like literally reading it and pausing, and like he read it super slowly, but like I felt like he understood what I was trying to say, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's such a simple story. Like it's not, this is just some extras, but it's a bit longer than that. But the way he resonated with that, he was like, yeah, like, you know, not everyone is represented, and like other identities that are not as discussed as usual are also valid. And that's how, you know, he felt touched by it. We talked about it, you know, it was a queer housemate share there, so like, you know, queer topics were pretty much all discussed all the time. But
Now I understand why you're
yes. There is a reason. There's also a bit.
No, I mean, I also like the topic, but being passionate about it.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
There is a reason. So, in a way, like me having lived with so many people from so many different realities and like, you know, countries and backgrounds. So I was already into this diversity. I felt like there wasn't enough representation about it, like until I discovered that, you know, there were authors talking about it, and so reading how they were representing their characters in their novels was like very inspiring for me. I was like, oh, I want to write something that is, you know, quite modern, it's quite nice, but also like impactful. So yeah,
it's really interesting.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of different representations also when it comes to queer characters and everything. And yeah, this was my version of it. Thank you for your reflections on the topic. Do you have any questions?
If I could ask, why exactly did you decide to choose the first quote, the one from the Elephant's book?
Because so I've decided to structure this episode in two parts. So one is like the lack of representation done by white people that, you know, want to be the center of attention of everything, and therefore they don't want to even explore other ethnicity stories, traditions and backgrounds, but instead they want to give their own view on, you know, diversity.
Okay.
Although they might not be 100% part of it, but they're not necessarily understanding everything. Like I have friends that are also from other nationalities. There's some things that I cannot fully understand. Like in theory, yes. In practice, not really. So I decided to use that quote to show like how, you know, representation matters from the, let's say, minorities, which is not really minority side, compared to the standard side, let's say. And so to take up on that, when it comes to diverse representation, there has been a shift towards less visible categories. However, the way Asian people, Black people, queer people are depicted is still quite polarized by the us versus others gaze.
Sure.
So that's what it appears here. And I believe that when somebody writes a story of any kind and wants to include specific references, there has to be a certain degree of accuracy. So when I was imagining the scene and these characters, for example, I wanted to give a real couple in their domestic environment, doing normal activities like watching a film. But at the same time, I wanted to give voice to underrepresented categories of the spectrum. My question to you here is, which kind of stories and people would you want to see represented on screen or in a novel in the future?
I would say more about refugees. We have, well, have so many wars going on, not so far from where we are, by the way, that we should, have some sympathize, have some empathy towards them. And I think it's good also because there's a lot of prejudice still on the topic, regarding integrating them into a new society. So I think that would be important. And so you said a kind of story, and then
People. Yeah.
I think usually, whether when you're a public figure or a political scenario or you're advocating for something, you tend to be followed, be kind of haunted, because of your beliefs. I would search for those categories.
Okay, thank you.
No.
Sego?
So I know we talked about like skin color, queer people, but I would love to have way more story of older people, but way more interesting, because when you have even women, when you see like women that get older in the cinema, they all cater to the role of mother or like wife or anything. So I would definitely want to see more cool stories about even people our age that are lost, because the only people that you see lost are usually really young. People at 30s have this amazing job and they have everything figured out. If you're in Rockham, the only thing that doesn't work is their love life. Everything else is almost perfect. So
yeah,
that's
usually
true.
Right?
That's true.
Yeah.
True.
So
Yeah.
Definitely. I feel we have many stories about teenagers, but we don't have many stories that represent the thing we live as young adults that are approaching 30 now. Yeah, I think it's important because it sometimes make me feel guilty when I see this awesome character that have everything in his life going for them. I did a bachelor in psychology, so definitely more people with mental illnesses, but not with the cliche like what's really going on, and don't go into the cliche.
Yeah, I think that will be certainly like three different categories of stories and people that I would also like to see. Especially I think there's still so much stigma about mental illnesses or like mental health related stories. So yeah, I agree with that. And also I think like old people, like when I see movies or anything that are about old people, like it's usually like quite melancholic, nostalgia, and like, in the past I was like that and yearning for nostalgia, but like what about now, like show me like your life now. And maybe they don't always have to be sad stories. Like
it's make it way harder to grow old, because you see that I don't think there is many good representation of being old. There is some of them, but most of them, like, you have the pain, you have the my god, sorry, my voice cracked. And honestly, it makes you feel horrible about yourself getting older, because oh my god, will I end up like those people? And so having more representation will help us getting older with more paths to go around. But
and for me, if I have to say which kind of stories and people would I want to see more represented on screen or in a novel in the future, well, I'm grateful to Alice Oseman for like writing about us in a novel. Now I would really love to have her novel Loveless depicted on screen, because I think that's the most accurate and close and diverse representation that I've read in a novel. Like, all her novels are amazing, honestly. Props to her. I'm 30 now, so, and I know a lot of people my age that are lost, in life. And I think it would be nice, because I don't think it has ever been represented, like how a job seeking situation looks like for people that are in a kind of age range and they've been through a lot. Like, there's a lot of changes happening in the recruitment side, or like even in general. I don't think I've ever seen a representation that was not either like toxic funny, like, I don't know, the devil wears Prada, for example, where the person is like maybe in their early 20s or something, and they pass. But what about before and then after? And maybe, to encourage more this kind of representation of a face that I don't think it is something that people never experience in their life. If they haven't, well, good for them.
No, it's the other way around. Yeah. I think everyone through a period where you either don't know what to do, or you know what to do, but you cannot do it because it doesn't depend on you.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we should give put some thoughts on.
Little bias, but yeah, I wouldn't mind to see more queer representation that is not stereotypical, or like, all gay men are like super fashionable and super into fashion in general and everything. No, like, I know for experience that not everyone is like that. So like, to diversify also that part of it. That was all for today. Thank you, ladies, for these insightful exchanges.
No, thank you. That was lovely.
Thank you.
We hope our thoughts resonated with you, and that you will create your own stories where you get to speak for your kind of people. Thanks again for listening, and follow us for more content. Bye!
Bye-bye.